Even going through CDs in your dad's basement or something.
I love
You
it,
have
man.
dug deep, JP, into the old school. Doogie, you're not even old enough to know who this is. You're responsible for this type of stuff? That's crazy, man.
It was a wild scene. I walked in here today and Doogie's computer was on. It was like blasting music.
Yeah.
And I don't know where he went. He had walked around a corner or something. And I'm like, who's got the music going? And Doogie had like a little vibe going while he was preparing for the show. And I'm like, I appreciate that. I think he was like mentally preparing for the show with music.
Was it like techno though? Or
yeah, it was
rap
like
or something?
Yeah, it was like I didn't recognize the artist or the song.
That's a millennial move to just have your tunes blaring in an office space. It's so ignorant.
I was taken aback by that. I'm like, maybe shut the door next time.
Doogie last week, by the way, pulled the biggest millennial move of all time. I called him and I realized, like, when you get into a good spot and you're getting in shape and stuff, like, I'm a pretty particular person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a neater now and things are organized. And I lost my winter toque, okay? So I called Doogie and I said, Doogie, do you mind going down to my dressing room to see if my toque is there? You're at the office.
You sent someone in there?
It is a mess.
Dude.
So Doogie says, Jeff, I've been there twice and there's no toque to be found anywhere in the office. I text my buddy Rennie, the cameraman, on Saturday. He goes, yeah, I found it. It was right in there as soon as I walked in. And I'm just like, Doogie.
He lied.
And I get obsessive about it. I'm like, where is I went to the Walmart lost and found. I was going everywhere. My dentist office. I was accusing people at the dentist office of taking my hat. And Doogie's like, yeah, nowhere to be found. He didn't even go in there.
I don't blame him for that. It is.
You open that
I'm
door.
not going to get into that dressing room, but it's a wild scene in there.
You can see that.
It's just not. It's not organized. It's not
organized. But you can find stuff in there. It's not like to the point where if
he
there's
didn't
a
even
tube,
go in there. He didn't go in
it's
there.
like popping
That's
the door
disappointing.
open to like a hoarder's house, though.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, it's
a
shock to the system. It's a shocking
Yes,
development.
because you never know what's behind a closed door, and then you open that door and you're like, I didn't expect that at all.
Well,
that should be
it works.
That should be a trivia.
It's a dressing
question.
room. That's all.
Yeah, but you open his dressing room. What do you think you would like? What would shock you the most in that thing? There were some things there.
I mean, it's more. You just have suits and shirts and ties. Like there's a lot of clothing in there.
Yeah.
Like, and I would guess 95% of it won't fit you anymore, right?
Oh.
Like a lot of those suits, I'm sure, from 2 years ago, like they would not fit you.
Well, they all have to get tailored.
Right, but it gets to a point where there's only so much thread you can take off before the suit is useless. Like
Exactly.
you can't keep going.
And there's only so much, you can only wear it so many years. And like, it's just,
I know.
Yeah, I mean,
once
you're on
you
national
hit your
TV.
optimal weight, you got to put on a suit from when you first started.
Well, dude,
and it'll hang off you. Like
one of the most horrifying things in one of the eye openers, and there's a bunch of different moments, but do you remember when we exchanged jackets in here? When you put on my suit jacket and it looked like a tarp for a Ferrari, I was horrified. I'm like, I'm that much bigger than that guy?
I don't remember that.
Last year, we traded suit jackets to see how they would look or whatever, and you put mine on, and it was like you grabbed a fitted mattress for a queen-size bed and put it over your shoulders. And I was horrified.
Yeah.
That's when I said, like, that's
got to come to an end. Yeah. I think I do remember that because I remember you tried mine on.
Yeah. And I remember you said, like, man, your arms are big. And I was like, they're not that big, dude. It was insane to look.
Jarring?
It was jarring.
Yeah. It is jarring.
Yeah, it was like shallow Hal. Like you think you look one way, and then I looked at you, and I'm like, I'm that big.
That's the amazing thing, man. It doesn't, like, even when I was in a bad place health-wise, I was convinced I had a vibe going.
You were
Dude, me
shallow.
Like,
oh,
like,
you go out, you're like,
I was $3 in my basement looking at myself on the return, and I was like, I look okay. And I'm like, you're a disaster, but you talk yourself into being not bad.
You find a way to make it make sense.
But there should be triggers. It's like, I said to myself, I'm like, I haven't worn jeans in 4 years. It's like your jeans don't fit, and that's why you're wearing sweatpants.
Yeah.
Like, you're disgusting.
Wow.
Yeah, like jeans are tough too, man, because there's just
They don't lie.
They don't lie. Jeans don't lie.
There's no give there.
There's no give. There's give on a quarter zip. On a hoodie,
Yeah.
you can unzip it.
Yeah.
T-shirt, you can blame that you accidentally put it through the dryer or something.
Anything.
Jeans do not lie. Jeans are firm. That's finite and it's tangible.
Jeans are the most honest thing you'll have in your life.
Yeah, more so than anybody else.
Yeah.
Your wife, girlfriend, your kids, your parents, they'll all maybe lie and try to talk you up. Your jeans will tell you direct, you're not pulling this off.
You're a 36, whatever,
it's not
36,
gonna work for
32
you.
or whatever.
Not going to work
You go to
for
put
you.
them on, and they're not lying.
Jeans don't lie.
Yeah.
It's like a country song, a George Jones song or something.
Dude, I was rocking some 44 golf pants.
Yeah, 44 too. I was in the 40s.
Yeah, and it's just like a what? I'm like, I used to be a goddamn professional athlete. You're like,
And yet, like we were just saying, you throw those on and say, "Man, I look good."
feeling
oh yeah, you put a nice like same color belt on. You're like, I'm dialed in. And
I'm going low today. Feel good, look good, feel good, play good.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you did not check the first two boxes. You might have shot 68, but the first two boxes do not count.
Yeah.
All right, here's Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst. What's up, Johnny?
Oh boy. Listening to this, it is spectacular. Although I will just say, you can adjust the height of the front of a jean when it gets a little tight. Like, it can roll a little bit lower than it otherwise could. The one thing for me, you put on a dress shirt. That middle button, that belly height, that gets a little torque on it, and you're like, what is happening here?
Yes.
You're gonna to tear apart. You're like, I got to do something about this. So yeah, it's these things, they remind you. You try to ignore them as long as you can, but eventually, like, I can't even put on clothes anymore.
Oh, don't kid yourself. There's basically bullet holes in the drywall from buttons flying off from my dress shirts. Because I would try them on, and those things would laser beam right off the shirt.
Protective eyewear necessary.
Oh yeah.
Right, exactly. There's a warning that comes with this guy putting a dress shirt on. If you're in his company, you better run for your life. Yeah, you're right, though. The midsection of a dress shirt, like, it can get really restrictive. Really restrictive. Yeah. But anyway, good to have you, Johnny. You're calling the game tonight, Leafs Devils. Edmondson not playing. Sounds like he won't play for the week. Keefe kind of slid that in. You don't expect to see him all week, which is kind of interesting. Riley's a game time decision. Obviously, Marner's still out, but he was skating today. Sounds like he's getting closer. Jarnkrok's still out. Like, where are we at with the injuries having an effect on the mojo come playoff time?
So I think they're probably a week away from sort of it being, we'd like some guys around because Sheldon Keefe has acknowledged he's juggling working everyone through the roster, which doesn't really matter now because everyone's hurt, with preparing for the playoffs while also trying to focus on banking points. They're not in the playoffs yet. Tampa's only, Tampa, 4 points behind them. Charles played one fewer game. So, Tampa's playing really well right now. I guess, third place not a given, although it's still very, very likely. So, trying to juggle all those things, he knows, he has so many decisions he needs to make, and big ones. Like, who's going to play with, I guess Morgan Riley's going to play with Lyubushkin. Edmondson's going to play with Liljegren. Who's going to play with McCabe? Is it Brody? Is it Benoit? Where's Mark Giordano? If he wants to play against, he was out there high-stepping around. He's able to come off LTIR today by, he's been on there for the 30 days, whatever it is. So it's become an issue in a week where, I think he'd like at least 2 weeks to get an idea of what his roster might look like, what the rotation might feel like, who's going to kill penalties and how that's going to work. What's going to happen with Max Domi, who has played awesome? I think anyone would say, Max has been great in the last, month plus. When Marner gets back, does Bertuzzi drop down? Does Max go back to playing in the middle? Who's the centerman on the third line? Tavares playing the second line with there's a lot of questions for a team that's very good, that has a really good chance to win in the playoffs. There's still a lot of questions that need to be answered that he can't answer till everyone's healthy.
Johnny, on the back end, we were talking about it last hour. Do you prefer to have kind of the right-left situation still? Because I said that I think Liljegren kind of has the inside track outside your maybe top couple because he's a right-handed shot, but also he's a puck mover where you've got Edmondson, you've got Benoit, you got McCabe. Those guys are kind of cut more from the same type of cloth. So would you agree you still need somebody, that advances the puck a little bit more efficiently, to get your skilled forwards good looks at good areas?
And someone who can play on the power play. Like, even when Riley is in the lineup, Liljegren's been getting run on the first power play unit. That's not inconsequential for the Leafs and their success. Like, I think it's going to be Riley Lyubushkin. Like, I think that is a pair that is going to happen in the playoffs. That's why they got Lyubushkin. Their numbers have been pretty good when they've been together, although it's only been like 100 minutes. And I think it's going to be Edmondson and Liljegren. And I guess that would be your third pair-ish kind of deep pairs. The real wild card to me is Jake McCabe, who's been solid and steady, and I think everything you could kind of want him to be. Who does he play for? Like, that's the one. Does he play on the right with a lefty like Benoit? Does he play on the left with a righty like Brody? I don't think Connor Timmins is part of that conversation. I don't think Mark Giordano is part of that conversation right now. But, where does TJ Brody fit in this? Because is it McCabe and Brody? Because it hasn't been great when those guys have been together. So I think that's, and then if you don't like them, then you have to shuffle the other pairs somehow, move Liljegren with Brody, or Liljegren with McCabe and Brody with somebody else. That's the question mark. They don't have the answers to it, but I do think Liljegren, they're absolutely planning and preparing for him to be in the lineup come game one of the playoffs.
Johnny, people have been hot and heavy over Max Domi playing with Auston Matthews, and they've been good. Domi's been a guy that's a facilitator, likes to find Matthews, getting people the puck. How would you work things out, Marner, back into the lineup? Would you talk to Auston Matthews? Because although they're loving Domi right now, and he probably might want to stay with Matthews, like Mitch Marner, like he's one of those players that kind of deserves his lot in life when he gets healthy because he's a world-class player. And he really has chemistry with Matthews. How would you handle that?
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I guess it's a nice luxury to have to know that it works there, but I think there's a 0% chance that Mitch Marner doesn't play with Auston Matthews when he gets back. Like, I think they need Mitch on the ice that much. They want Mitch defensively around that much. They do the same kind of facilitation that Domi has done. Mitch has done for years at a higher level. So this is the wild card in Max Domi, because Max, I thought, has done a pretty good job playing center. But if you play Marner with Bertuzzi and Matthews, so then Max Domi is not going to play probably with Tavares. That'll be Nylander and probably Bobby McMahon. Does that mean Max Domi's playing third-line center? And then on the road, if you have Domi on the third line with Matthew Nyes and maybe Jarnkrok, is that line good enough defensively for you when you're starting on the road? And how comfortable are you with Barkov and Reinhart going up against Domi's line in defensive zone situations anytime there's a whistle or stuck out there? This is the internal conversation they're having, exactly that, in the coach's office for the Toronto Maple Leafs, because I don't think they know the answer either, because there's not an easy one. Max has done a good job doing what he's been asked, but he's probably not ideally suited to what he's going to be asked to do when it comes time to be in the playoffs if everyone's healthy. So, yeah, Marner's coming back. He's going to play with Matthews, and they're going to have to try to figure out what to do with a pretty good contributor in Max Domi.
With Mike Johnson, our TSN Hockey analyst, Leafs Devils tonight, Edmonton and Winnipeg tonight. McDavid obviously chasing 100 assists. He's going to get there. When that happens, which one do you think will be a more impressive statistic? Him hitting 100 assists this year or him scoring 64 goals last year?
64 goals feels more impressive to me, but if you look historically, when last year somebody else scored 60 in Pasta, the year before somebody else scored 60 in Austin, this year somebody's going to almost score 70. In the history of hockey, there's only been 3 people to get 100 assists. Right, Gretz has done it 11 times or something, but Lemieux and Orr have done it once. So there's been lots of 62, 63, 64 goal scores, including in recent memory. There haven't been any 100 assist getters. So I guess history would contradict my gut, because my gut always goes to the goals and how impossible that is. But history would say that getting the 100 assists is something that not anyone can do. It happens very infrequently, and that would make it more impressive, more difficult than the goal scoring.
Yeah.
Is it still crazy that Gretzky did it 11 years in a row?
Oh, it's
insane.
It's absolutely
all those records
crazy.
are ridiculous. It's all. But how about this, Hayes, to you guys? So Austin, I don't think he's going to get there, but 70 goals, let's say, if he got there, 70 goals, 100 assists, or Nathan MacKinnon with a point in every home game the entire season.
Insane.
Which one's more impressive?
I'm taking 70 all day. Sorry, that's not Toronto. That's just 70-70, man.
Yeah, I
Only
don't
one
know.
person has ever had a point in every home game, and that's Gretz.
Yeah, that's such a unique
I don't know if McKinnon's
statistics.
getting enough love on that. That's just
That's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy to me that he's coming close to doing that in today's schedule and goaltending ability and pre-scout and injuries on that team. There have been more than their fair share. To me, I guess you know where I stand. I'm like the fact that, well, only one guy's ever done it before, but like I just on a mental, emotional level, to come up with the energy he plays with every game is what is so impressive. Like I get he skates fast, shoots hard, he's better and all that stuff than everyone, but like just to have it every night, to bring it every night, to me is impossible. Was impossible when I played, and yet he's able to do it. I think that would be the most impressive to me.
Yeah, it's the most unique, undoubtedly. I mean, these bold numbers, you throw them out every year. Could someone do this? Could someone do that? That's not even something people discuss. Like, who talks about 41 home games and a point in every one? Like, nobody has that conversation. And that's why, to your point, Noodles, maybe it should be getting more attention. Because
well, that means you didn't get shut out, too. And I think the Leafs have that, a really unique...
They've got the longest
streak.
streak in the league. Yeah,
Right.
they never get shut out.
Which is impressive. Because there's
Absolutely.
nights where goalies just goalie you, and, hey, not going to happen tonight. I'm shutting you out 3-0. But that's what's so cool about it, and McKinnon deserves more love in it. That means they've got to find a way to score a goal that night, even if they're going to lose a game.
Yeah. And like injuries are obviously not an issue for him, like remarkably healthy. That's another thing that makes it's not fluky. You deserve credit for being available and playing through it. But you get a suspension, that streak comes to an end.
Right.
Anything happens. You get kicked out of the game early for something.
Out of the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blue, you name it.
Or exactly, any illness or whatever. That is truly a remarkable statistic. Yet, I feel like with all of that said, the stat that will be remembered is Zach Hyman scoring 50. Like, him scoring 50 is so unique and so mind-blowing, and people can't wrap their head around it, that it's like, yeah, McDavid 100 assists, that's wild, but it's McDavid. And Matthews 70 goals, that's wild, but it's Matthews.
Yeah.
And McKinnon, like, those are natural guys that
They've been doing it for years.
that have
They've
been
got a
doing it for years,
reputation.
and everyone knows who they are, and those are three of the 5 best players in the world. Like McDavid, Matthews, and McKinnon. On everyone's list, they're in the top 5 or top 7.
Yeah.
Zach Hyman, I think he was in our top 50 coming into this season. I think he deserved to be. He had a great year last year. I'm pretty sure he was on TSN's top 50.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
36 goals is not great.
Right,
It's
exactly.
very, very, very
Are you
good.
sure he was on the top 50?
I don't
He was-
remember, but I think
I'm going to
he
look
was.
at my list, but I think he was in my top 50.
I think he was on
He had
the
82 points last
final-
year, 36. Like, I think he made it. Like, we'd have to check the TSN top 50.
That's what I'm saying.
But
the
I
definitive list.
I would argue that he was probably there.
Probably.
Was RNH there? He had 100 points last year.
Yeah, I think he was, considering how great he was.
Maybe Hyman didn't make it.
I don't think he did.
Maybe he did. Doogie, look that up if you can. Find the top 50 from September, I guess that came out. But him scoring 50, like, people just can't take it, man. They cannot take it. They cannot accept that this guy has 50. It's crazy.
It's amazing. Like, so first off, poor Sam Reinhart. He's an afterthought because he got him the same day. Like, oh, that's nice too. But how about Zach Hyman doing the same thing that Reinhardt's doing? And with those two guys having done it, there is now, in the history of the NHL, there have been 100, exactly 100 different players to score 50 goals in a season. So Zach Hyman is one of the greatest 100 goal scorers. Like, when you think about it, you're like, what? No. I mean, he's good. He's very good at what he does. But he's not that kind of player. I guess the most, and I think it really is pretty appropriate comparison, would it be Jonathan Cheechoo? Different kind of player, different kind of career, but like sort of the aberration one great year. Cheechoo had 54.
56,
Yeah.
Well,
I think.
and people just say Joe Thornton.
Thornton's
That's all they
had him
say,
with
right?
pucks all night. Yeah.
Right, and he was, and the next year he had 45, and then went back to normal. And I wonder if that's not to suggest Zach Hyman's not good. Zach Hyman might He playing himself onto the Olympic team, for goodness sake.
I don't know why it's just not more celebrated as a really good guy and a good team guy who works his ass off, and he's self-made, and he got an opportunity to play with Connor McDavid. Other people tried at the beginning of the season. It didn't work out. And it's just been an awesome storyline.
Yeah.
I think what you're talking about, Hayes, is Leaf fans, where they're like, oh, I can't believe he's doing it in Edmonton. How'd they let him go? Dubas screwed this up, blah, blah, blah. That's where the negative...
Well, no, there is bitterness from that standpoint, but also there's, I think, a large portion of the NHL fandom that's like, well, it's only McDavid. Right. Like, that's why. It's
you still got to put him in, man.
I agree with you. But there's a lot of qualifying that, well, it's because of McDavid. Well, and listen, of course, McDavid factors in. He gets to play with the best player in the world. But he wasn't on the top 50. Doogie's now maybe this is another Tukes situation where Doogie barely looked over the list.
He didn't look.
Head up his ass.
Yeah, he's listening to music back there.
It's like a rave back there. But I don't believe Hyman was in the top 50. TSN coming into the year.
Regardless of what we say, Johnny just laid out a stat. He's one of 100 people. In the statistics, in the history books, it's not going to say got to play with McDavid.
Right. Cheechoo's
name is got to play with Thornton. It's going to be one of 100, Zach Hyman. And it's a great story. Like, incredible. I don't know if you saw on the Oilers website the other day, they had him mic'd.
Yeah, for the 50th.
For the 50th.
Great.
Awesome.
It was so cool because he had a little convo with McDavid. He'd go to the side of the net, and boom, it was in.
Well, they cut it off where McDavid, they must have like a call or something, like do whatever, and they muffled it, and then he went right to the side of the net. McDavid hit him. Mm-hmm. But then the reaction, I just thought it was cool, the reaction of his teammates.
Yeah. Super happy for the guy.
That because I was right there. Like, I was in between the benches. I felt Edmonton stopped playing after that. That was it. They were up 3-1. They scored 2 quick ones, and they were dominating the game. It was 26-6 in shots. Mm-hmm. But Hyman hit 50, and they were satisfied.
Celebration.
I've never seen a bench so excited in game for a goal, which was pretty cool.
Incredible.
Good for him.
Yep.
And it comes back to him being, self-made, good Toronto local guy.
Yeah.
Very well respected.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know where the negativity comes from, other than maybe just people sour that he left this situation.
There's a Leaf angle to it. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some bitterness there. Yeah. For sure.
There should be no negativity, though. Just celebration.
No.
What a great year. I don't care if it's a one-off. It's a once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A couple more things. One, if you watch that clip, did you hear what Corey Perry said to him?
No.
Welcome to the club.
Yes. He hit 50 on the nose, didn't he? Or 51 or...
He won the Rocket. I think it was 50 or 51.
Won the Hart?
Yeah, he won the Hart that year, too, yeah.
I'm like, Draisaitl could have said welcome to the club, or Connor didn't, but of course it's Corey Perry, welcome to the club, which I quite enjoyed. And the other part is, I was doing the intermissions of that game, and they popped up not notable, 50 goal scorers in the history of the Edmonton Oilers. And of course you think, well, there'd be dozens, right? It's the Oilers. There's only been 7. Connor, Leon, and Zach Hyman are 3. It's just Anderson, Curry, Gretzky, and Messier. And the crazy part, Hayes, is Zach Hyman has as many 50-goal seasons for the Oilers as both Connor McDavid and Mark Messier.
Wow.
And I'm like, what?
Mess only did it once?
That's
wild. Insane to me. Yeah. And again, just when you start thinking about the collection of players that he has attached himself to by accomplishing this feat, is the pantheon of greats in the NHL, and he deserves, in this context, to be part of that conversation, which is so incredibly cool. And you can see the respect he had from his teammates when he achieved it by the way that they reacted. Noodles is 100% right.
Incredible. Yeah, no, it's incredibly cool. And, we'll see what comes of the rest of the year in terms of what kind of numbers he puts up when McDavid hits 100 assists. What happens with Matthews. There's other races and chases going on
great
in the league
storylines
right now. And, who's going to win the Hart?
What about the Norris?
The Norris, because we were unveiling our Norris picks earlier. O and I were trying to establish ourselves as esteemed members of the hockey community.
We're trying to get in the voting process.
Yeah, we're trying to campaign to be considered legitimate members of this world that we operate in.
You got to take it away from Jonas. That's not going to be easy.
Well, that's the thing. Jonas has got votes.
Yeah.
Jonas has got votes, and you and I, we don't have votes. So we all had Hughes, Yossi, Makar. Seems like a pretty consensus top 3. But then beyond that is where it started to get a little bit dicey, Johnny. I had Hedman and Doughty O had Dobson and Heiskanen. I'm curious, how you.
So
feel
let's just
about
base your opinion on this, Johnny. The last 2 picks for both teams: Hayes, Victor Hedman, Drew Doughty. Me, Noah Dobson, Miro Heiskanen. Which way would you lean?
Can I take one of each? Can I take Hedman and Dobson?
You have to select one of those 2 guys.
Very good players.
You got to pick a side.
Why don't I just pick the right ones, and that's the Hedman and Dobson? I can split it down the middle.
This is why he's got a vote, probably, because
Did you say Heiskanen?
Heiskanen's been great. He's been great.
Yeah, 100% been great, but hasn't he missed like 15 games?
We don't have access.
So is Bedard. Bedard's going to win the Calder. He's missed more than that.
That's because there's no Dobson to Heiskanen, right?
Yeah, Heiskanen's played 61 games.
Johnny, we're asking you to kind of lean one way or the other here. That's all we're asking you to do.
I mean, I'd probably go Hayes. I'd probably do Hedman and Doughty if I had to.
Thank you. Doughty's been phenomenal.
I got to go to the panel. Out of time.
It's been great.
I go to myself first, all right? I go Hedman and Dobson. So how about you guys chew on that duo and see if that's better than either of you guys?
That makes
There
sense.
you go.
They've been good. Morrissey's been great, right? Fox's been good. McAvoy's been good. Bouchard, but I don't know. Bouchard doesn't seem to get enough. Like defensively,
He just gets a lot of
points.
points.
Can't get the racks up points.
He had 3 apples the other night, Johnny, that Sunday game.
He was awful in Toronto on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like he was horrendous.
I'll tell you what, he's a major X factor because in a playoff series, if he goes out there and it just says, well, I don't know about that, he's
You're
a guy
toast.
that's logging minutes and he has to play in his own zone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Anyway, Johnny, next time you're in a golf town or something, try on a 44 short and see how it rocks.
I hope they put 2 of me in there. I don't know if that would work.
Car cover.
See what you can do. Take a pick and send it to us.
Watch for Matthews, 2 goals tonight to get to 60. That's all I'm saying.
I think you're right, man. I'm sniffing him having a big game tonight.
Just saying.
Giant game. All right, Johnny, enjoy it.
All right, boys. Have a good one.
Mike
Cheers.
Johnson, our TSN Hockey analyst, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Check out Maple Toyota's huge truck and SUV lineup, including Tundra, 4Runner, Highlander, and Grand Highlander in stock and ready to deliver. Visit mapletoyota.com. Yeah, I think Matthews, it feels like, we always say in bunches, and he snuck one in against Edmonton, empty net, first empty net goal of the year.
Yeah.
And in Carolina, he had a couple of chances, didn't quite get there. But feels like tonight against New Jersey, tonight's the night. You pot 2 more, you keep it alive. He needs 12 and 12 to get to 70. I'm never going to doubt this guy. I think it'd be silly to doubt him, but that's tough. It is tough, and you don't know if he's going to play every single game.
He'd have to tee off like 2 games in a row, like a 4 spot, then a 3 spot, and then you're like, we're cooked.
And this is the week, right? Because they have Jersey tonight. You got Washington on Thursday, where he had 5 points last week, and then I think Buffalo on Saturday. Those.
And then who is it? Florida here next
Florida,
week.
Tampa coming up.
Yeah.
They, if he can pot 5 this week, get up to like 63 with 9 games to go, 8 or 9 games, then you're like, all right, let's see where we're at.
That's
here.
something.
It could be a game 82 kind of chasing an empty netter like Gretzky.
But listen, I've said this before. We'll see how it unfolds, but once it starts to sniff out, his teammates will be looking for it. Like that. That was honest to God, the other night in Ottawa, like they wanted Hyman to get 50. Like that's what it was.
That was the priority.
Now, and they ended up, their power play was zipping it around, but you could tell Hyman they were trying to force feed it there.
Well, listen, try that tonight, Winnipeg. That's not going to work. Like the Jets got to get going too. They've lost a few games in a row now. They're behind the pack. Like as of now, the playoffs started tonight. They're going to Dallas. That's tough. Like a week ago, they were top spot in that division, and you're looking at home ice, and now it's going to flip that quickly. So these are big games tonight. You got Detroit, Washington tonight. You got Florida, Boston tonight. Big games tonight, like big playoff implications tonight. All right, Leafs Devils tonight. Say hi to everyone over there.
Tomorrow's a big day because it's a game breaker day.
What are we doing category-wise tomorrow?
Don't know.
What are we doing, Doogie? Do we know what we're doing?
Vesna tomorrow.
Vesna.
Noodles.
Well, 1 is easy. Number 1 should
It's
be.
got to be
let's
Hellebuck,
just
right?
leave it for tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, we'll leave it for tomorrow. That's a battle tomorrow.
That'll be a battle.
Between
You
tomorrow
better
and the
dig
Heart.
in because I am ready for a street brawl.
I got a 5-pack ready. I'll put more time and effort into it tonight, but I'll be ready.
Good luck.
You too. All right, there's the O-Dog Jeff O'Neill. Confirm and deny coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
I can neither confirm or deny that this is in fact a segment.
Auston trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for Confirm or Deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
Well, I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
All right, Confirm or Deny brought to you by Summit Ford and South Lake Ford Lincoln, where there are no trade deadlines. They'll take anything on trade and save you the HST. Visit summitford.com or southlakeford.com. Very simple. Statements are made.
Yep.
Go around the table. We confirm or we deny them. We'll float this all the way up until 6 p.m. We got a boatload here. Confirm or deny, and Zach Hyman will have at least one more season where he scores 40-plus goals. 40-plus.
I'm going to confirm it because, 50 is a big number. 40, he had 36 the previous year. That power play is not going anywhere. Even you got Draisaitl another year, McDavid, even if they fizzle out in the first round, they're still bringing that band back together.
Yep.
That power play will be Bouchard, RNH, Hyman, Draisaitl, McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
And
like that alone, it feels like he's going to tuck in 20 on the power play, 25.
15 to 20 there, and then 5-on-5 with McDavid. Like 40, I'm confirming it because 40 is not, hey, like I was thinking if you end up stretching it, he's going to get to 56 or whatever. I don't know if he'll get 50 again, but I think he could be a 40 goal scorer every year playing in that role.
Yeah, I'll confirm it too because of, like you said, he's 31. Like this isn't some magical year at 39 or 40. Like he's still in his window and in his prime, and he's been very healthy.
Hardworking, good skater.
And he's McDavid's guy now.
Yeah.
Like that's the bigger thing that's been established here. That's his guy. That's who he's playing with. Draisaitl might come and go in terms of on his wing. Nugent-Hopkins might come and go on his wing.
Right.
Hyman's not moving.
Right.
Like for the foreseeable future anyway. And clearly after a season like this, and obviously that's you lose 3 or 4 in a row, they might mix some things up. But I would suggest at least 80 to 90% of shifts next year, 5-on-5 and on the power play, Hyman's going to play with 97. And if you do that, you're in the best position to succeed. And they've unlocked something here.
Right.
Where he understands where he's got to be. They feed off each other very well. I'll confirm it. I think 50 is asking way too much in the future. This is the magical season.
Right.
Like this is it, and bottle it up. It's been incredible. He deserves to be celebrated. It's just an amazing story. And I'm a huge fan of the guy personally. Like we've met him a bunch. He's been on the show. He's a great, great guy. Couldn't be happier for him. But I hope it doesn't get to a point where next year it's like, 50 again, or no. This is it. It's a great year. It's a phenomenal year.
Right.
But if he can tuck in 40 a year, which I think is definitely doable. And again, this is just once the rest of his career. It doesn't have to be next year. Maybe in 2 years he scores 41 or 42 goals. Because McDavid's there for at least 2 more years after this. At least 2 more. So Hyman's got at least a 2-year window to do that. I'll confirm it. Confirm or deny, Joey Votto will play at least one major league game this season. Not necessarily in Toronto, but one game in the majors this year for Joey Votto.
I want to confirm it. I want it to be a good story. I want it to be for the Blue Jays, too. Mm-hmm. Just come home and not a one-day contract and sign up. But I know you're going to deny it.
I think I'm going to, man. I don't want to be a hater. I don't want to be a hater, but I feel for the guy. He got dealt a really rough hand. He got into camp late.
Right.
No one would give him a crack. The Jays did. Shows up, hits a home run on the first pitch, and then rolls his ankle, and he's still not recovered. And you could tell it was bad. Right when he came out of the game, it was bad. And then when he talked about it after, and he was
down,
telling everyone how painful it was. And then he was trying to convince, I think, himself and the world that it could only be a few days. Well, it's been a lot longer than a few days.
It's been 2 weeks?
Yeah, and he's still not playing. Like I don't think it's been quite 2 weeks, but I think it was last Saturday, I believe. And he's still kind of recovering, which means the team has broken camp. Yeah. They're coming home, or I guess they're going to Tampa. He's not a part of the 26-man roster. He's not a part of the 40. They haven't signed him yet. So what? He's going to stay down there in the complex. Then maybe he stays on as a minor league player. I don't know. It just feels like he's months. weeks away anyway from possibly looking like a guy that is ready to perform in the major leagues.
And then you give him an opportunity.
And then he's got to get an opportunity. But if everything's working for the Jays or for other teams, why would you do that? I mean, I'm rooting for the story.
Right.
But if I'm being realistic, I'm fearful that,
It's
I think the baseball world was kind of telling him, you've had an unbelievable career, borderline Cooperstown. He very well could get in there.
Yeah.
Truly one of the great Canadian ball players ever, in the conversation for the greatest. But he's 40. He didn't have a spring training now. He's so far behind the 8 ball. I think it's going to be very difficult for him to get there.
You are a hater.
Yes, you are a hater.
Someone's got to be realistic here.
What was that guy's name?
LeVar Ball.
LeVar Ball.
Yeah, LeVar Ball.
God, that guy.
Yeah. The Ball family's fallen off. Well,
never heard from him.
LaMelo has had injury problems, and Charlotte's still a disaster, and Lonzo's just hurt. Like, he's perpetually injured. Like, it feels like his career is basically done. And I don't know where the third brother is. I don't believe he's in the NBA anymore. But yeah, LeVar really did disappear. I think because the shoes didn't take off.
Well, they were selling them for like $1,000 each or something.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous.
And there was a number attached to it. Like, people could track it. It was like tracking a private plane.
Yeah.
And it was like 650 sold, 651. And it just like sputtered out. It never went anywhere.
Oof.
Yeah, it didn't work out well for LeVar and company. What was that called
Stay
again?
in your lane.
What was the
Big Baller
Big
brand.
Baller brand.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the Big Baller brand. He was everywhere.
Even his
LeVar
son
Ball.
wouldn't wear them, though.
Well, that was the thing that killed him, was that Lonzo's like, I'm in the NBA, man. I can't wear these.
I'm not wearing this nonsense.
Yeah, they're clown shoes. I can't wear these. All right, confirm or deny. If healthy, TJ Brody will play every playoff game this year.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can either confirm or deny that.
I'm going to confirm it because I'm still bullish on him because he's not over the hill, but he needs to play better. They need him. They need a player like him. I go back to, they've got a lot of kind of the same type of player. Really have 4 of them. You throw Lyubushkin in, who's a right-handed, Edmondson, who like Benoit, like McCabe. You need a guy who's played at a high level and defended at a high level. He hasn't done that. He needs to play better. I'm prefacing my comments.
Yeah.
But if he can play better, then he should be. But giant IF.
That's the thing. Like, I think with his play, he's played himself into a battle now.
Into that conversation of being out.
Which is why I'm going to deny it, because once you play yourself into that company, you're on a shorter leash than everyone else.
Right. Off game, you come out instead of getting another chance.
Or if maybe he's got a 6-pack in mind, Keith, that he really feels comfortable with, and it doesn't include Brody right now.
Right.
It would have all season. I mean, this is the interesting thing about how they've handled Brody. They finally got to a breaking point. I think it was long overdue. I think it was necessary, where they took him out of the lineup and said, you need to have a breather. Yet Keith was saying, we need to give him a breather because we keep putting him in positions against the best players and playing the most minutes in PK1. It's like it went from 0 to 60.
Right.
You got to still be the guy, still the guy, still the guy. Oop, you're not, you're out.
Right.
As opposed to any transition.
Like bleeding him down, like the Tavares situation.
Exactly.
Down 1.
Exactly. It was like they skipped that stage.
Right.
They went from, you're still TJ Brody from 2 years ago, to, you can't play right now, so you're out. As opposed to, let's shelter him a little bit. Right. Take some minutes away. Maybe take him off PK1. Maybe take him off PK2 for a night or two, and just say you're not going to kill penalties tonight.
Right.
And you're going to play in the third pairing, and we're going to try to get you offensive starts and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It just was like an extreme to an extreme. But as a result, I think he's put himself in a position where I don't think it's a lock he's playing.
Yeah.
I think he likely will. I think everything you said is accurate. At his best, Brody's better than the other option.
They need him.
Yes.
Like they need him at his best. But the thing is, are they going to get that?
Are they going to get that? And this year, it's difficult to suggest they are consistently because he's been inconsistent.
Right.
Confirm or deny on something we got into earlier this hour. McDavid compiling 100 assists this year would be more impressive than him scoring 64 goals last year.
It's such a, goal scoring and premium, all of that. But I am going to say, just because of the company, because people in the history of the league have scored, 70, 80, Brett Hull, all of that. history of the league 100 assists. That's really exclusive.
Only 3 guys ever. The 3 greatest players ever, you could argue.
I'm going to say that is.
Yeah.
So I'm confirming that, or no? I'm saying.
Yeah, you're confirming that. Yeah,
confirming it.
I'm actually going to deny it because of where he's at. Like, I feel we came into this year, and I took a lot of heat, much like the Joey Votto take, the Hyman take. I was, a bit of a hater, and I made the case that I thought last year was McDavid's
like his peak.
That's the premium statistical season.
Right.
64 goals, 153 points. And like this year, he's not going to be far off on point. He will be because he's not scoring goals. Right. Like he's in the 20s for goal scoring. So he's going to finish likely with 140 points or something, which is remarkable.
Right.
And a lot of them are assists. But this is more of who I think of him as a playmaker, as a guy that sucks the defense in and puts it on a tee for someone, backdoor tap in. So you
don't look at him as a pure goal scorer type of thing.
That's like last year felt more unique to me. As crazy as it is, because everything you said is a fact. Only Gretzky or Lemieux have ever had 100 assists. No one else has done it. And when he gets there, he's in that esteemed company, which is truly remarkable.
Right.
But it's kind of like Gretzky. Like as much as like Gretzky's got the most goals ever, yet everyone's like, well, he's a playmaker.
Greatest
and it's the assists and exactly. And I think of it the same way as McDavid, where I think of him as more of a playmaker first. So him scoring 64 feels more unique. Like it's more likely he hits 100 assists again next year or the year after than I think he scores 65 goals.
Yeah.
Like I don't see him getting to 64 goals. I could be wrong, but I could see him having 100 assists again next year.
Yeah, I could
totally see that.
Well, the way that he is, the way he plays, he creates a lot and draws a lot of attention. So you're right, distribute the puck. So yes, 64 could be the outlier. I'm just going more about how special that record
Historically,
is.
It's very different.
I'm looking at it right now. Like he's got 117 points.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 26 goals, 91 assists. So he's 9 assists away.
Yeah. Well,
that's
by the end of next week.
That's 9. That's 4 games potentially.
Oh, for him, it could be
3 games.
Yeah,
like he's been.
He
getting
could do
2
a
and 3
4-3-2 like pretty easily.
Yeah, he could.
I don't know about tonight in Winnipeg.
No, but they need the one thing in watching Edmonton. Like individual things are nice, but there's times where you're watching it going, you got to try and shoot there. You got to score that goal instead of going, I'm going to look for Hyman. I'm going to look for. That's why I thought, okay, now that Hyman's got 50, they can just go play. With the Leafs, if you're looking at 60 and 70 for Matthews, there will be a different focus and kind of how things play out. You could argue that the Dylan Strome situation might happen somewhere down the line here for Auston.
I think getting Matthews to 60 and then I think 61, which would surpass his own personal record.
Right.
Like I think he gets to 61 and breeze, and then it's like I don't care what else
Whatever happens.
Like he'll still score more likely after that, but I think I have to believe there's some nervous energy. I got to get to 60, and then I got to break my own record. I got to get to 61.
Sure.
And then anything else beyond that is just bonus.
Yeah.
Confirm and deny, brought to you by Summit Ford and South Lake Ford Lincoln, where there are no trade deadlines. They'll take anything on trade and save you the HST. Visit summitford.com or southlakeford.com. We'll get to some confirm and deny after dark still to come. And Brian Windhorst will join us in about 20 minutes on this Jonte Porter story. Crazy what's going on in pro sports right now.
Yeah.
Like with Shohei Ohtani, and Ohtani had a statement yesterday, and he's saying, his former best friend and interpreter lied to him, stole from him, and that's it.
I get messages daily, just like wanting my opinion. Like, do you believe him?
I know.
I don't, though. It's weird. Like, I don't. That amount of money, like your financial guy is going to call you and go, hey, there's $4 million going out the door. Like it's
and
it's so fishy.
That much money, there's so many regulations behind it to get the money out.
They had statements earlier saying he was helping out a buddy, and then no, he stole it.
Yeah.
Like to me,
and Ohtani didn't know anything until after the first game in South Korea.
Yeah.
That's what I really find hard to believe.
I think it's a big lie.
I find it really hard to believe a guy that big, that powerful,
right,
has people being like, oh, by the way, we knew about this a couple of days ago. Maybe we should fill you in.
Yeah.
After ESPN's interviewed the guy.
Yeah.
I find that impossible to believe.
It's fishy. They're just hoping for it to go away.
Right.
People to forget about it.
Yeah. But not going to happen.
No.
And now this Porter situation with the prop bets and the irregularities, it's popped up. Windhorst on that and more in about 15. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, every day we announce a current or former Maple Leaf player. And by the end of the week, you'll have a full Leaf lineup. We're off on Friday, so it's a 4-pack, shorthanded this week. And we're giving away tickets to see the Leafs Panthers April 1st, plus throwing in a $250 Vanilla Visa prepaid card. Vanilla Visa prepaid cards are available for purchase at Petro Canada. Today's player of the day is Nick Hagman.
Oh.
Nicholas Hagman. He's your Maple Leaf player of the day. So there you go.
Nick Hagman. I played with him in Florida.
Yeah, he was in the Dion deal, I believe.
Yeah, he's
I think.
Nicholas Hagman. I played with him in Florida. He was a beauty.
Yeah.
Killed penalties.
Yeah, good player.
Good skater, all of that.
Yep. So there you go. Nick Hagman's your Maple Leaf player of the day. Leafs Devils tonight. So we'll tee that up in the next hour. Brian Windhorst will join us. The Raptors lost again last night. Did not cover. It's ugly, man. They've lost 11 in a row. Brooklyn's terrible.
Yeah.
And now they get the Knicks here tomorrow. I don't know when they win a game. I really don't know when they win a game.
Well, didn't you say you're over-under of 3, and you said under?
I said I'd hammer the under. Me and Jonte Porter hammering under.
Well, the Porter.
Allegedly.
Yeah, not good.
I mean, there's no indication that Porter was betting or anything like that, but it's pretty shady. The activities,
around
who's
him.
betting on a Porter prop to begin? That's a bigger question. Who had the over and it's like, man, I was getting screwed. I really thought he was going over that night.
Yeah.
So final hour on that and the Leaf game tonight. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.